It seems that some folks would say to the Father, quote, well, I will if you will, unquote. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day number 2 of Torah portion Eikev. Let's go back to chapter 7, verse 12, which is still the first verse in our Torah portion, day 2. And it says, and it shall be because you hear these right rulings and shall guard and do them, that Yahweh your Elohim shall guard with you the covenant and the loving commitment which he swore to your fathers. So Yah seems to be saying, if you will do, then I will do. And we kind of respond back, well, Father, if you do thus and such, then I will do thus and such. This is not a bargaining table. The word here is Eikev. It means because. And again, it's because we do a certain thing that Yah says that he will do. And then he says, if you will guard. The word is shomer. It's the idea of drawing up a sword, picking up a shield, a spear, putting on armor and guarding. Now, Yah is not asking you and I to militarily defend his word. He is asking that we do this activity by observance, keeping what the Torah says. The most glorious thing that you and I can do in regards to the Torah is not to be a Torah terrorist and convince X number of people a month that we're right and they're wrong in regards to, quote unquote, the law. Neither is it to hit our checklist every day and say, well, I've done my Torah duties, so therefore I'm good to go. But rather we are to embrace the Torah and allow it to define for us what our lifestyle, our living, our mindset is, and reveal the Messiah to us in the midst of all of our obedience. None of us are going to be so perfect in our obedience that we are immediately qualified for the kingdom. The atoning work in particular of Yeshua has accomplished that for us, but out of love for him. Yochanan chapter number 14. First Yochanan chapter number 2, verses 3 through 5. Show to us that if we love him, we keep his commands. And it's an act of love, not an act of duty, not an act of obligation necessarily, not an act of keeping us out of a fire pit, but rather an act of love, an act of loyalty and devotion to our Messiah. Changes things, doesn't it? And so we continue on, and the word says, your Elohim shall guard with you the covenant and the kindness which he swore to your fathers. Now, this goes back to an understanding that Shemot 19, where he says, you are my people. You are a peculiar people, a royal priesthood, a set-apart nation. That's understood. The covenant relationship has been initiated. It's already started. And he is saying to us, if you will continue on in this covenant and its relationship, then I will be faithful to do what I have promised to you. So if we safeguard the Torah, Yah says, I will safeguard the covenant, which will grant to you then your inheritance, the promise of receiving the land, a portion of Eretz Israel, as your dwelling place, and I will bestow upon you supernatural benefits. I will not put the sicknesses and diseases of Mitzrayim upon you. I will cause all that you put your hand to flourish and to increase. I will give you favor among the nations. I will cause you to be first, not last, the head, not the tail. You will lend and not borrow, etc. Now, wait a minute. I don't know about all of that. Where are all those blessings right now? Well, Yah stands ready to guard the covenant. In fact, he is keeping and guarding the covenant, whether you do or I do or not. So if he's guarding the covenant, And as far as our Creator is concerned, the covenant is intact, it's operational, it's functioning, it's working the way it's supposed to. Where is the power? Where are the benefits? Why are we still sick? Why are there still some that are barren among us? Why are we being pursued by our adversaries? Where is this sense of security, well-being, and extreme fruit bearing? Something's not working right. Well, the reasonable question is, if we're not seeing all these promises fulfilled currently, what's going on? Who is at fault? Is it possible that we're not seeing the fullness of our desired benefits? Let's back that up, of His desired benefits for us. Yah is not just handing out candy, but at the same time, He is saying to us, I'm looking for your obedience, and I'm looking for the purity of your heart. I'm looking at the willingness of you to embrace what it is that I have commanded you. Are you doing these things because you are afraid not to? That's a big one. Are you keeping the Torah because you are afraid not to? Are you willing to embrace the commands of the Torah, surely out of love and devotion to Yeshua? If we're keeping the commands, if we're walking in the best of our understanding and our ability, but Yeshua is not the focal point. Yeshua is not somewhere in the mix of this, but rather He is a side item. We're missing the point. And we may be indeed stymieing what it is that Yah desires for us. Obviously, the fault is not on Yah. Hebrews chapter 8, he says, finding fault with them. The fault is on our side. Somewhere you and I are missing a key element, perhaps more than one, of what it is that needs to be done or embraced or understood in observing His commands and pursuing His commands in order for the benefits to begin to materialize. Now, many in this day and time of great calamity and crisis, such as it has been promoted, have been quoting from 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and verse 14. If my people, well, that's us, who are called by my name, check, will humble themselves and pray, half check, then I will hear from heaven, or turn from their sins. Well, another half check. Then I will hear from heaven, I will hear their prayer, and I will heal their land. Whose land are we talking about? Are we inviting Yah to heal the land of exile? Or is this a promise that was made to His people who were dwelling in the land of promise? I believe at times that we have misappropriated an Eretz Israel promise for the lands of exile. That's something that I have an opinion on. Pray about it and see where your opinion takes you. So then he says in verse number 16, you shall consume all the peoples whom Yahweh your Elohim is delivering over to you. Your eyes shall not pardon them, and do not serve their mighty ones, for that is a snare to you. If we go to verse 25 and 26, the carved images of their mighty ones you are to burn with fire. Do not covet the silver or the gold that is on them, nor take it for yourselves, lest you be snared by it. For it is an abomination to Yahweh your Elohim, and do not bring an abomination into your house, lest you be accursed like it. Utterly loathe it, utterly hate it, for it is a curse. Could it be that we have played nice with the idolatries of this world to the place that we no longer recognize them for what they really are? And when Yah is pointing to them, we're not paying attention. It's time for some prayerful investigation to see where we're missing it at. Love to hear your comments on this. Write me at remnantofisrael.com. Love to talk about this. More tomorrow. We'll see you then. Shalom.